And we're back with another late night episode of the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcast. On our latest episode, JSJ, I'm talking to you. We covered the big surprise at Comic-Con as we recap Comic-Con, including Marvel's big announcement of RDJ heading back to the MCU as Doctor Doom. What do I think about it? You can find out along with our recap of what went on with Deadpool and Wolverine and my review of Deadpool and Wolverine on the latest Pop Culture Cosmos. Plus also as well, Inside Sports Fantasy Football coming up around the corner, so go ahead and check that out as well. I know it blew a lot of people's minds, JSJ, that's for sure. But also as well, Joe Soros here. He is Mr. Simblades. Simblades with a Y.com. If you want your lawn transformed into something much more magical than it is today, and you live in the SoCal area, hit up Simblades. Simblades with a Y.com. Plus, he does a lot more. But you check out that site, and you determine exactly what you need. Give him a call, and he'll be on the way. Plus also as well, of course, he is the guy taking a whole bunch of flack as Ox1947 at LakersBall.com because he keeps on hearing, as he told you, all those people say, Bronny James is going to be okay on LakersBall.com. So if you disagree or you agree, give him a shout out right there, LakersBall.com. Speaking of .coms for the Lakers, Lakers-related stuff, Laker Tom, who we thought was going through some things with his usual crazy trades, had an even crazier trade last night that we discussed. You can hear what he has to say right there for you at Lakerholics.com, along with Jamie Sweet, Michael Heinrich, and the whole gang that's there waiting for you to chit-chat back and forth about the Lakers there as well. Our good friend, John Costa, who we're on right now on his channels as well. Lakers Fast Break, also Lakers Corner and Clutch Talk. So welcome, viewers. It's the Lakers Fast Break. Go ahead and subscribe to his channels and our channels as well, plus Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Yo! Also our good friend Stone Hansen at report_court on Twitter. Of course, Lakers in 5, Empire Jeff TV. All these great channels subscribe to, but make sure, since you're in the mood for subscribing, you go ahead and get us over that 1,800 mark for subscribers. And you also, when you hit that bell, you'll get the latest notifications on when we go live right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. And if you're on Facebook, please follow us. You know, we've got a lot of people around the world who follow us on Facebook. Please do so there. Go ahead and do so on Instagram, Twitter. I'd tell you TikTok, but we got banned there. Wonder who did that right there as well. That guy got us banned. But you can check out what got us banned on YouTube on the shorts. It's a pretty good one. I must admit, it was a pretty good one indeed. But we're back for late night chit chat on the Lakers Fast Break. Something we have been talking about behind the scenes because we get a lot of letters on this from a certain individual, Rodell, in regards to his constant support for Max Christie. Max Christie this offseason signed a 4-year, $32 million deal. This comes off of 2 very uninspiring seasons, but he is still young. He could still develop. Who knows what the future holds? But the Lakers, remember, they already moved up in the draft and paid millions in cash just to acquire his rights in the first place. Now has spent $32 million more, or will if he sees the rest of the contract, all 4 years. So is that investment worth it? Or do you turn to Dalton Knecht as the first round draft pick that the Lakers have this year? Because the Lakers need more backcourt help. And in doing so, you've, of course, got to give D'Angelo Russell some time. You, of course, got to give Austin Reeves some time. But who is that other third main guard you got to give time to? We're going to go ahead and discuss that if either one of those guys is the option, or if a trade is necessary for the Lakers to go ahead and take a next step this season. It is Joe Soro, aka Ox1947, LakersBall.com, and of course, SimBlades.com. Joe, we keep getting bombarded with emails by Rodell on this subject. One of his actually responses to us was about Jovan Buha, who I guess last week got promoted to the assistant coaching staff of the Lakers because he was on the Locked On Lakers show, I guess, not his own show, talking about just he wasn't promoted, he's just a reporter for the Athletic, but he was talking about his preferences in the rotation, and he moved Max Christie ahead of Dalton Knecht, primarily because of things I have mentioned that I saw in Summer League in regards to his defense and defensive concerns. So your thoughts on this? I still think Dalton Knecht will be the better pro, is the better player now, and will be the better player going forward than what we've seen from Max Christie. But Max Christie is 2 years younger, Joe, and can still have time to develop.
This team doesn't have time for anyone to develop. This plays a part in the issue with contending for a championship. This isn't a daycare. I keep telling you all this. We don't have time to hold people's hands. We need ballers on this team. They want to win a championship. LeBron wants to solidify his career in terms of best ever. He's solidified it in every category right now except that, which is something that there might be some delusion that he already is there. He's not. He likely will never get there, but he'll have a better chance at contending and winning a championship before he finishes his career. This constant nonsense about, well, let's see. There is no time to see. We don't have time for a 190-pound player who has shown nothing the first 2 seasons of his career, that all of a sudden is going to turn into a consistent rotational player because apparently we have a genius coach coming. This genius coach stuff, you're setting yourself up for a big splash. And I'm not talking about, splashing into the pools or the lakes. I'm talking about splash from a building down on concrete. We're going to be here for the show. I haven't seen anything that shows any chance of competing for a championship until they show us that they're going to compete, until J.J. Redick taps into some kind of psyche behind Jared Vanderbilt, Max Christie, Cam Reddish, Jalen Hood-Schifino,
Jackson Hayes,
Christian Wood. Is he going to tap in somewhere in there that's going to allow these guys to be contributing players on a championship team? Or are we going to hear the first week excuses? The answer is yes. You're going to hear it in week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. And then once you get to about right after Christmas, that's when things are going to sink in. That's when they're really going to sink in. And then we're going to be here to discuss those situations because I want to know what other things we can be told. What other things can you manifest in your brain that will make sense? Because right now, 90% of the trash I watch and hear is exactly that. Nonsense. Absolutely nothing of substance. You want to talk positive. You want to give me an analysis that makes sense. Give it to me. Say something like, Joe, I believe AD is going to be set up for the first time in this J.J. Redick philosophy, offense, whatever, to play MVP ball. Great. Absolutely. That's great to hear. How is that going to happen? How is LeBron James going to involve players who can't shoot the basketball? What is LeBron James known for the last 21 seasons? He is known as the man who will dribble the ball, draw the defense to him, and dish it out. Now, he did that to a lot of players last year, and they made those shots. But what happened when the offense was not there? What happened when it turned into defense? What happened when it turned into fundamentals? What happened to individual capabilities? We're going to just wish that some 6'5", alpaca wearing hairstyle, 190-pound player is going to come in now that you just overpaid him to do what? I don't know what. To do what? He's going to start hitting shots now? He's going to be able to guard small forwards? He's going to be able to get to the basket because he's strong enough. Has anyone seen Max Christie this offseason? Has he gained 15 pounds?
Supposedly he's worked out with J.J. Redick, I believe in Vegas. He did comment on that.
So what is J.J. Redick going to do? Teach him how to score 12 points a game?
Got to get stronger. Right now,
Gotta
he's
get
a liability on both sides of the ball.
Got to get stronger.
Doesn't shoot well enough and got to get stronger.
Okay.
He is still 21, Joe. So I don't want to be.
Yes, and I'm 46, and I don't have time for this shit. Okay, I don't. This is not about 21. The Lakers already made this mistake with Taylor Horton Tucker. They thought, you know what? He is 7 years younger than Alex Caruso. We're going to put our money in him. What happened there, G? To develop players. Who the hell is going to develop these guys? Anyways, what the hell does J.J. Redick know about developing basketball players? When the hell has he developed any NBA player in his career? The answer is zero. And I'm supposed to all of a sudden say, well, we got this, budding, good-looking star that's going to come in and turn into Pat Riley.
See, what people don't realize is that the Lakers, they've already invested 2 years straight, Joe, on these second rounders, have spent millions of dollars on Maxwell Lewis and Max Christie before they even got into the league. Each of them have spent, the Lakers, millions of dollars. I'm not talking about just signing a contract. They spent millions of dollars just to move up in the draft, to draft each of these individuals. And both of those guys, they've spent, I don't know, let's say, I think it was almost 4.5 for Maxwell Lewis. Let's say just about around that for Christie, or even if it's just $2 million or whatever. That's still $5, $6, $7, $8 million before they even played a second on the court. And if that's the case, they need to develop a lot faster and a lot better than what they're doing, because Maxwell Lewis is nowhere near ready to play in an NBA court. His jump shot is absolutely abysmal. All he can do is drive to the basket, and that gets old real quick for him. He doesn't play defense as well as most of the other players I saw in Summer League. We always talked about Dalton Knecht. His defense was just as bad and worse when you think about it, because he's played in the league already. He's played against a lot of these guys in Summer League, and he was still bad. These guys in their second year need to dominate. But what was the problem, Joe, is Max Christie in his second year in Summer League did dominate, and he really did nothing with it once training camp hit.
Summer League is supposed to be a workout. That's all it is. It's a workout. It's the chance to see.
Once you're in your second year, you need to dominate there.
Well, that didn't mean anything either. Yeah, Christie had a great second year Summer League performance. Didn't mean anything, folks.
Nothing with it.
This is. I don't think it matters, really, whether we end up being correct on this or not, because what people do in life, and this is life too, it's not just sports, is they will continue to manipulate themselves into believing things that are not true so that they can feel better. It's human nature. They will convince themselves of things that are just not there. And then sometimes they're put in a predicament where both choices are not good, and they'll, just because there's a dislike or there is uncomfortable feelings, they're going to go with one side, even though it's just as bad, and make themselves believe this side is better. That's human nature. Human nature is to be deviant in a lot of ways, to be jealous, natural reaction to be jealous towards things like this. It's a human condition. It's just, sports is no different, wanting to be, and this is a Laker thing too, because I'm a Laker fan. I'm going to go off my Laker history. Guys like Tierre Brown, guys like Roman Sessions. I know those are old names for a lot of people who probably don't even know if you guys are young. These I just threw out a couple names there where I remember in those times, people overrated them so much. Roman Sessions was picked up at the deadline, and people thought this guy was going to be the savior. I'm like, what? You're sitting there going, what are you talking about? It's Roman Sessions. This isn't Chris Paul in his prime. So much so, the guy gets so much pressure on him that he jetted out of LA the second season ended. There needs to be pressure on this front office, ownership, and players. It's not going to likely come from us right now. We're not big enough. But down the road, maybe one day, we will have that voice. And they can look back at the show, look back at the history of our show, and know that, hey, these guys never really came off who they were. And I'm telling you guys right now, if you go back last year and the year before, you have a totally different tone on how our discussions were on here, because I always give things room to work. But when you finally get to that part, just like when those people who cannot cut ties with certain people in their lives, this is the time to do that. You cut ties with the nonsense. That friend that is abusive, narcissistic, whatever. At some point, you got to put your feet down, stop being a coward, and tell that person, you suck, this is who you are, go away. And that's what I've done with the Laker management. And they've proven this by their decisions.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro, a.k.a. Ox1947 from LakersBall.com, and Simblades, SimBladesWithAY.com. It is Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching this thing. If you haven't yet liked and subscribed, please do so to get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break. Joe, all we talked about was hearing during the course of the draft in that first round was how Dalton Knecht, where's he falling to? Oh, the Lakers got the steal of the draft, the steal of the draft, the steal of the draft. That may very well be the case. He did average 21 points in Summer League. He started to get better and better as time went on. Defensive issues aside, offensively, his stroke looked a lot better. His playmaking skills, not too bad. He needs to work on his handle a little bit more, but still some promising signs from what I saw, Joe. But if he does become the steal of the draft, that means he has to play good, well, right away, sooner rather than later to help the Lakers. And if he does, I still project him out at some point in time, if it does work out well, for him to go ahead and supplant Austin Reeves as the starting guard at some point in time, because Austin Reeves' best position is coming off the bench to give him a better against those second units, because Austin Reeves against starters, as we saw in the playoffs, is a losing proposition.
I'm not gonna.
I didn't say it was going to happen. I just said
I'm not
it's
gonna go
the
that
best
route.
option
Yeah.
for the Lakers.
I'd say if he's to become a integral part of this team this year, he's going to come off the bench and he's going to spell guys like Austin and Rui.
He needs to. Okay.
If you're asking him to become a starter on a team that's already lacking talent, it makes sense there because they don't have enough talent.
That's why.
But you're also asking them, when was the last NBA? When was the last Laker rookie? I know I'd mentioned Courtney Lee in 2009 as the last starting rookie that was valuable to that team.
For the Orlando Magic, by the way.
Correct. This is 2009. The Lakers met the Orlando Magic in the finals. Courtney Lee was a starting, I believe, 2
subscriber,
on that team.
huh?
But Derek Lively played and started a considerable amount of games.
Yeah, but he didn't start any games. He didn't start any games in the finals because his game wasn't a good matchup for or against the Celtics.
But he played more minutes than Gafford, ultimately.
Are we gonna get in this discussion?
No, I'm
again?
not going to argue with you. You're going to just have your point. Okay, I get it.
Was he a starter?
Not in the finals.
There you go. That's it. End of discussion. When was the last Lakers starter that did anything that was a rookie? Like rotational player that was effective.
I'm not going to say Magic Johnson because that's obviously
That's the first
easy answer.
memory I have. I mean, I guess you could say a little bit of Derek Fisher, but not really in 1996, 97.
Even Scott came off the bench to start his career.
It's not, it doesn't, you got to base your analysis on history and common sense.
I didn't say it was going to happen in game 1, Joe.
Not you. I'm talking about in general. We think we get into this mode of, oh, this guy's going to play well. Why? Tell me. Why is this guy going to start? Why is this guy going to be valuable? Why is he going to be a rotational player? Give me a reason. You just told me he can't play defense.
Again, I just told you about his playmaking skills, about the fact that he is. You saw his shot. You saw his stroke. It looks
very nice.
NBA ready already. By the time he left Las Vegas, by the time that he had his last game, of course, he can't play the last game because they load managed him twice during the course of the Summer League, which pissed me off. That was terrible. Disgraceful. It's Summer League, for God's sakes. Play these guys. Get these guys some run. They're going to have a month off. Get them some run. But anyways, by the time he finished his last game in Las Vegas, his stroke looked good. He looked confident. He looked like a player that was ready to contribute sooner rather than later.
$7,000 got it. $7,000 got it. The last viable rookie starter was Kyle Kuzma. Now that was on a team that was probably the worst Laker team in my lifetime and maybe the lifetime before me. I didn't watch the Lakers, unfortunately, in the 50s and 60s when they had a couple of down years, but I was around for 1992. That was not good.
He only started 37 games that year, Joe.
Okay, so then I guess that's the best one that was close.
The close. Okay, we'll give you that. And he scored 16. He averaged 16 in that year. Yeah. That's we'll give 37 games. We'll give their starting 37 games a count. We'll count it.
Yeah. If this was LeBron at age 28 and AD at age 25, we're not having this discussion because those two would be able to carry an 82-game season and a playoff run.
But with the Lakers so deprived of depth, still so deprived of talent, as you and I both have stressed, as you have gone on numerous rants about in this offseason, what choices do the Lakers have? Because they've already gone down the Max Christie route. I mean, the excuses that everybody has about Max Christie not getting the opportunity. Oh, it was all Darvin Ham. He is there in El Segundo the entire season. He could have performed at any point in time on a consistent basis of practice. He could have given, just the things that he could, in his opportunities when he started, he had one good game in Cleveland and didn't follow it up. You have to have more than one good game to go ahead and be able to contribute on a more regular basis. You have to keep that rolling. He never did after that start in Cleveland. He just couldn't keep it going, Joe.
I never knew he was getting it going anyways.
Well, he started in the game at Cleveland. And
if Darvingham, well, I'm not going to grade him on one game. He's just
you can't. He has to be more.
I'm grading him on how he performs when he's in there. I don't perform on one game. That's not really smart. You watch him play. For those of you who watch basketball, most of you are watching the ball, right? We all watch the ball typically, unless you're doing a podcast and you need to talk about a player. Then you got to start picking times during the game where you're just focusing on one player and watch them move. Watch how they create space. Watch how they move through screens. Watch how they pass the ball when they're stuck in no man's land. Those are the little things that you pay that make a difference. And it's not good either for these young players to be around someone like LeBron James sometimes, and to some degree maybe even AD, who's kind of sometimes might do a little bit of a Kareem kind of lagging from the other side. But in his defense, what do you expect? The guy's guarding four guys every time he's playing defense. He's beat up. But LeBron has a habit of forgetting that he needs to get back on defense because he's upset, didn't get a call, saving energy. Well, I understand the saving energy part, but you can't leave your guys at a 4-on-5 break. Get your rest up on that side a little bit then. But you all have to watch these guys play. You are not watching these guys play. No one is, it seems like. And I can't watch national sportscasters anymore. I can't do it. I'll get tidbits here and there when I can look at my phone where I'm in my car, or maybe I'm on the listen to the radio. I cannot listen to these. Sportscasting has gotten so bad. It's exhausting how bad it is. Their takes are trash. They're not watching anything that means anything. They're just taking stuff from box scores or listening to what their chump friends are saying, and that's it. I feel bad for a lot of the people on Lakers ball talking about certain guys having potential. I'm like, what are you talking about? What potential? Where? How is a 6'1" player who doesn't have any lateral quickness, who can't get to the rim, control the ball, or shoot, going to make it in the NBA? Tell me. Oh, he can play defense. Where? Where did he play defense? How did he play defense? Oh, he was in a lane and the guard from the opposing team threw the ball to him. Oh, he knows how to get in space. He knows how to get in between the lanes. I'm sitting there watching literally the ball go towards him, and he catches it in a summer league game. I'm like, he was just standing there. He didn't come out of nowhere and jet on in between that little lane. So human behavior. I was taught in broadcasting school, relate sports to everyday activities so that everyone can relate to it, because there might be someone who listens to the show who isn't a sports fan, but they can relate to the topic. Delusion is something that's becoming a big word now for the 24-25 Lakers. Is so many are either full of garbage, it's really more shit, full of shit, or are delusional. Either way, it's bad. And you're delusional and you're full of shit because you can't give me a coherent reason why this imaginary thing in your head is going to work. Tell me. The only thing I've heard is, well, J.J. Redick is better than Darvin Ham. Based off what? Because he can talk better? I'm sorry. Speak better?
Must have really did well coaching those fourth graders.
He can speak well. He can relate to what? He didn't talk to LeBron when he got his job, right? What did he relate to?
Allegedly.
Is Anthony Davis going to put up with J.J. Redick? If J.J. Redick tells Anthony Davis to get off your you-know-what and move, what's going to happen there? Because we know what LeBron's going to do. LeBron's going to walk the other way, get on his Twitter when the game is over, and put butterflies in his Twitter saying he's ready to fly away, but, all covert op type stuff.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Sorrell.
I'm telling you right now, I'm setting this up for a massive win or a massive fail.
Or a massive I told you so.
And either way, no, that's your job. I don't waste my time.
Well, you'll be ranting that you told me.
If I'm telling people I told you so, then it takes away from the point. This is not about me telling you so. This is me analyzing what's going on and telling you what's going on. Not me needing to be right. Has nothing to do with that. I win either way, though. They don't perform, I win. They perform, I win again, because now the Lakers are winning. And I'm willing to take the hit. And that's part of this game. That's part of analyzing. Take the road. We don't know if it's wrong or right. Take it. Don't sit there and go, well, they may play well. My favorite is, if Christie can make his shots and stay in front of his man, he'll be in the rotation. Well, no shit. That's anybody. If they make their shots and can stand in front of the guy that they're guarding.
He hasn't been able to do that consistently yet, Joe.
Watch Christie play. Focus on the player. Watch how he moves. Watch where his eyes are. Watch how his body moves. Can he set a screen with any aggression? How is a 190-pound guy going to screen Bam Adebayo? How is he going to screen Joel Embiid? Well, Joe, he won't. He'll be screening a guard. Oh, well, what if Bam Adebayo guards you?
On a switch.
On a switch. This is the NBA in 2024, soon to be 2025. This is not the 1990s where everyone had a designated position. You have to be able to move, get around, or go through every kind of player. Can you do it? Oh, and you have to have the confidence. Oh, and you have to deal with the pressure of the LA, whatever you want to call it now. I'm not going to say greatness or legend because they haven't shown that in a while. So what exactly are you going to do, Mr. Max Christie? You rewarded a guy who has sucked ass for 2 years with an $8 million contract when you already are teetering on disaster with the second apron, and you have 7 players, including Max Christie, on your 15-man roster, or 14, 13, whatever the hell it is, working the two-way bullshit. And this is supposed to be something that a team is supposed to be scared of. Put yourself in Denver, Minnesota, the Celtics position. Imagine Coach Mazzulla looking at that lineup. Put Tatum. Look what Tatum and Brown did to Kyrie Irving in 5 games. They made him non-existent. This is allegedly the greatest ball-handling guard that ever lived in the history of basketball, apparently. Talk about people living in the moment. And unfortunately, Luka did his best. Yeah, his defense sucked ass, but at least he was there for the offense. He tried to do his thing, but it wasn't enough. And that's because those guys pretty much said, you ain't going to do shit. So what is Christie going to do to that? That was Luka dealing with that, and that was Kyrie. The same guy that LeBron was creaming all over the walls over before the finals. Here's some advice for LeBron. Shut up. Every time you open your mouth about something, it jinxes. Stop jinxing shit. Shut up, go play basketball, and focus on the teammates you have now. Stop imagining and fantasizing about who you played with before. There was a reason why Kyrie Irving got out of Cleveland, because he couldn't stand you. So now you want to love him? You really think Kyrie Irving loved you? You really that dumb? Just nonsense everywhere, every day, everywhere you go. It's constant nonsense. Fantasy world. Wake up, people. Focus on the stuff that is actually going on. Then we can get the better discussions instead of me being on here screaming about how wrong you are.
So let me ask you this, Joe. You've said repeatedly that he is not an NBA player. We've had, of course, our draft expert, Stone Hansen, come on this show over the course of 2 years and say he is not an NBA player. On our on the Lakers corner, our good friend, that would be John Costa. He has a short saying he is not league ready. Joe, he's been in the league 2 years already, and if he's still determined by a lot of people that he is not league ready, okay, you put him aside, you give him a project, make him a project, he develop, et cetera, et cetera. But the problem is you've got Maxwell Lewis, who is not ready. You've got Bronny James, who is not ready. You've got Cam Reddish, who is not ready. You've got Jackson Hayes, who is not ready. All these guys are not giving you consistency off the bench in any way, shape, or form, and are not ready to give you what they need to give you. Not to mention the often injured Vanderbilt, Gabe Vincent. We don't know how his knee is doing. Just so many ifs when it comes to the back end of the roster. But the problem is the back end of the roster for us starts at what, player number 7? You think?
Sure.
That's now you see the problem. We cannot wait for these guys to develop anymore.
No,
I can't. I mean, there's just so many players that have what it'll tell you, unrealized potential is what they'll probably tell you.
I couldn't care less about potential in anything. I don't care about potential. This isn't the Charlotte Hornets.
And Alan, that Darvin Ham excuse is old, and it's come on. They're over the course of months. They play, they practice, they play in games. They all got opportunities, and they all blew it.
Did Darvin Ham make Max Christie miss open shots?
Yeah.
Did Darvin Ham make D'Angelo Russell not be able to play defense and turn into a turnstile? Darvin Ham is a lot of things. Believe me, I'm not supporting Darvin Ham. The worst coach I've ever seen as a Laker in my 33 years of watching the Lakers.
Hold on, Joe. As I mentioned this the other day, you guys forget he played more minutes in the exhibition season leading up to the season than any player, I believe, on the team. He played over 130 minutes, Joe, leading into the season. He had every opportunity to crack that rotation and blew it. Absolutely blew it. That's what was 6 games, 6 exhibition games, 130 minutes. I counted it the other day, and he blew it. So don't tell me it's all Ham. Ham is a bad coach. I will give you that all day long. But he had his opportunities, Joe, and he blew it. He started in Cleveland, did well, and never followed it up. Don't say he never got the opportunity, Casey, because he did, and he blew it. You guys act like he never played any games last year.
Until morale improves, the beatings will continue. And
he played in 67 games, Joe. last year.
Morale right now within the Laker organization is not good. And they show a fakeness, but the morale is terrible inside. And this is going to be more aggressive, louder, and meaner.
Now,
this is not going to get better until they win.
Well, this leads me into my next question for you. Richard's saying, well, Max got a $32 million contract too. They must be seeing something, right? And they've already invested millions just to even get the opportunity to draft him. They paid millions to move up in the draft to get him. Okay, that's fine. Could they be using it? You talked about using players as potential trade bait. As far as what you talked about, that's the reason why we had to keep as a priority D'Angelo Russell, to use them, their salary, their position as far as how much they are. $8 million at the trade deadline may be tacked on to something else to get a better player. Is that maybe possibly what would have been going through the minds of Rob Pelinka?
First of all, D'Angelo Russell is a better player than Max Christie.
Yeah, I'm not comparing players. I'm talking.
He's also an expiring contract that's almost $20 million. Those are always going to be assets. Signing Max Christie, who is a dud, for 4 years at $8 million per, is a dud by the GM. Okay. No one will trade for Max Christie without draft capital, which the Lakers do not have enough of. It was a terrible signing. It was an overpay. They could have given him 4 years, 3-year, 2-year, third-year team option at $4 million per. And I'm pretty sure he would have taken that, and no one else is going to beat that. And even if
they did, competing against him, who else wanted?
No one. I'm telling you right now. The venom that's coming right now, it's going to get more poisonous. I want this to resonate in everyone's brain. All the positive Nancys out there that are watching this show or leaving the show because they can't stand the negativity. I want this to be stuck in your mind so that when next year hits, and it hits the wrong way, based off what we've seen, a few of you are going to go, damn, they were right. Or you will also do this. You will manifest another fantasy in your head and think of another reason why. Oh, we're going to blame the wallpaper this time at El Segundo. Oh, we're going to blame JJ Redick. He had a cousin of his go to the hospital. God forbid. You're going to make up excuses because that's the world we live in, folks. Excuses. Last year, go look at the tape. I said it a few times. Folks, Rob Pelinka paid everybody. Now it's your job to perform. What happened? Very few people performed. The people who were supposed to perform performed. Guys like Rui, guys like Reeves, LeBron, AD. Who else? D'Angelo, half the season. But that's it. Everyone else, trash. Because that's what they are. I'm sorry. They're not trash people. Their game is trash. Cam Reddish, Christian Wood, Max Christie, Maxwell Lewis, Jalen Hood-Schifino. These guys are not NBA. Well, I actually thought Jackson Hayes played better than I thought he would, but he's not good enough still.
He cannot defend.
No,
he just runs to the basket. That's it.
He's not. His instincts for basketball are just terrible. He reminds me of a little bit better version of Jordan Hill. God help us all.
Let me put this to you like this. Richard said the Max signing was bad and the vet minimum with players options was a killer too. Those are rookie mistakes. How long has Rob Pelinka been doing this job? We can't afford rookie mistakes. We're backed up against the second tax apron because of these rookie mistakes. Who was, competing for Max Christie as a restricted free agent? What was the market for him? I didn't hear any rumors of any other team wanting him at that price. The Lakers were competing essentially against themselves to sign him at that price. And look, they miscalculated so bad, they went crawling back to LeBron to get a reduction on his contract. So, Joe, I ask you this. Okay, if Dalton Knecht's not the answer right away, and Max Christie in a lot of people's eyes, at least our eyes, is probably never going to be the answer. I still think he'll wind up on another team somewhere because at least he's going, he's guaranteed for the next 4 years. If that's the case, Joe, is a trade for a shooting guard needed sooner rather than later? Because you're running it back essentially with the same backcourt that hasn't been able to get it done in the playoffs these past 2 years.
Where are they going to pull it out of? From what?
That's what I'm asking. These magical 2 first-round picks that Laker Tom says these teams will bite on at any given moment. Waiting every minute now for
Laker Tom reminds me of the Cleveland Cavaliers coach in the 80s. The one that was giving away first-round picks like candy. That's why you don't I'm sorry, Tom, if you're listening. That's why you don't put Laker Tom in any kind of decision-making situation. When you're a boss, everything is predicated on your decision-making. You have to take the good with the bad with the good, blah, 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 blah. Doesn't matter. Sports is a different entity, though. You can suck ass and still get paid. Whereas in my position, if I suck ass, no one gets paid, right?
Yeah.
Sports, it's a fixed game now. You can stink. You can stink all day and make $8 million a year. Case in point, Max Christie. That's the reward for playing like dog shit for 2 years. Oh well, we're gonna give you a raise of $8 million because we see potential. You see potential, and now you're deciding to train guys and to develop guys. Assholes! If you want to train and develop, why didn't you trade AD and LeBron then? If you want to do a new training and developing program, how the hell are you going to develop players with AD and LeBron on the team trying to win a championship?
Yep.
I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it in everything. And I could be a little bitch and go cry like everybody else. I'm not going to watch the NBA. I'm not going to watch the NFL anymore. I'm going to boycott you. Everyone wants to boycott. Everything's a boycott. Fuck you and your boycotts. Kill the problem. Be the person to kill the problem. I'm probably not going to do it, but I'm going to try. Say something. Bring some information with it. Do your homework. Oh, I'm going to boycott. I'm not going to. After a while, you're not going to do anything in your life. Oh, I'm not going to this store. They allowed this one guy in there. Oh, I'm not going to ever go in there again. Really? Really? No, I'm a Laker fan, and I don't like the way my team is being run. And I'm going to let them know that you suck. And that's it. What else do you want me to do? What else am I going to be here for? To do what? Oh, well, Gerald, gosh darn it, the Lakers lost. We'll get them next time. Is that what you guys want me to do? Was that going to make you feel better?
Maybe we should.
Isn't there 20,000 Laker YouTubes and whatever the hell with a bunch of yahoos on there with their shitty production value garbage talking about, oh, well, let's go ahead and trade everybody for this guy. And I'm sitting there going, have you read the CBA yet? Are you informing your audience how things work? Or are you fantasizing to get numbers so that your crowd doesn't know shit about how things work? No, you're going to be informed. And there's backing to it. You know why there's backing to it? Because in a weird way, I don't know why, sports sticks. I know the history. I like sports. It sticks. And I remember useless information. It was useless information up until I did a podcast. Since Gerald invited me on the show. Now I put it to use on a forum. Before it was just me telling my friends. They're like, "Oh, who won the Super Bowl in 1980?" Well, are you talking about 1980 the season, or are you talking about 1980 the year? And of course, I get this dead look, like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Well, the NFL season is different in terms of the year versus when you win the Super Bowl, because you go over New Year's. So are you talking about 1980 Super Bowl date or 1980 NFL season? Because those are two different champions. If you're talking about 1980 Super Bowl date, it was the Steelers beating the Rams 31-19. That was for cool, bro. That's why I picked that year, so he can, sizzle in that. Now, if you're talking about 1980, when you won in 1981, right? 1980 season, then it was the Oakland Raiders beating Philadelphia. Jim Plunkett was the MVP. And that was the first wild card team to win a Super Bowl. See, it's just there. I don't know what to tell you, Gerald. It's just there. So if you're going to start talking about stuff, you better bring your guns, because mine are loaded, and I got a lot of them. That's figurative, by the way. Well, it's literal too, but on the show, it's figurative.
Let me show you. Yeah, pulls out. Yeah, okay, whatever gun right there. We're kidding. And of course, it is, the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. Truly appreciate it. Richard's asking again, do you guys think this is the worst the Lakers organization has ever been, or when Jim Buss era was worse? I mean, you could only say that the Lakers did make the Western Conference Finals and have a title under Jeannie Buss. But it's been through a rocky road which we have gone through, to say the least, and we're not in a good way right now. And of course, the Jim Buss era, very well as well.
It's interesting. I've been thinking about this. If Magic wasn't working as the VP in 2018, does LeBron come to LA?
Probably not.
Okay, if that is the case, then it's very likely that Jeannie, Rob, Jim, I'm not putting Mitch Kupchak in there. Mitch Kupchak did some amazing things when he was a GM. I'm sorry, I'm still, and maybe I'm in denial on this part, but there's no way Mitch Kupchak convinces Gary Payton and Karl Malone to come play for peanuts. There's no way to convince me that he got Ariza for nothing out of Orlando and was an integral part of the 2009 championship. You can't convince me that my favorite trade of all time, getting Gasol for Kwame Brown and a couple of freaking duds, and then on top of that, you had Chris Paul until it got vetoed. You can't convince me that Mitch Kupchak has anything to do with Jim Buss, Jeannie Buss, or Rob Pelinka. I'm not gonna put him in that category. He did way too much good. And to me, if Magic Johnson, based off your analysis and your feeling on this, if Magic's not there, LeBron doesn't come to LA, then they're the same. Other than that, Jeannie and Rob have run a more successful short-term operation. It's just not the secession story of the Buss family. Dr. Buss was half a genius, folks. It just didn't get passed on to his kids, and that's normal, folks. It's that, look at LeBron and his kids. They're not going to be LeBron's, and that's not fair to ask that either. Michael Jordan had children that played basketball. They weren't, Magic Johnson, same thing. Guys, I don't think people realize how freakish in terms of athletic ability that guys like Magic, LeBron, Jordan, and Kobe are. They're not normal people, man. These guys have athleticism and the ability to play sports that's just not human in a lot of ways. They're that freakish. To expect anyone to be that good is not fair. Now, I can't keep dwelling on the past. I don't really want to talk about the past anymore. I use it as a reference, and that's okay. But I'm going by what's going on as of July 29, 2024. Right now, the Lakers are in deep doo-doo. If the only discussion going on right now is Jeremy Grant, and the reason why the discussion is going around is because it's a slow NBA news line. And the easiest way to get chatter is to put Lakers in front of whatever schmuck they're trying to trade or not trade. Because that's how talentless these people are. They have no substance. They have no imagination. They have no ability to explain or detect or analyze anything in its current status. They're not paid to do that, and they're more paid to listen to the bosses and to do what the advertisers do. That's why we're on a podcast. Now, we are on YouTube, and those guys can be when you get a little too whatever, right? But, if you're big enough, you can combat that.
Richard's asking one more question. Let's ask a question in the present. Without any moves, do we make the playoffs?
No.
They're at 44.5 wins here in Vegas, and all the gambling sites for a reason, Richard, is because Vegas thinks that the Lakers are close to what, a 9th, 8th, 9th, 10th place team at best. And all it takes, if that's the case, without any injuries to get to that point. So what happens if a LeBron gets injured? LeBron's now playing 26, 27 minutes on Team USA. That is a concern for me. When he was playing 20 minutes, 19 minutes, okay, no problem. This is just him tuning up for the regular season. No big deal. But as those minutes start to climb up for Team USA, that gets me more and more concerned. AD still averaging only about 18, 19 minutes a game. So I'm not as concerned. But yeah, it's becoming more of a concern for me, Joe, that they're becoming more and more reliant on the 39-year-old.
It was nice to see Kevin Durant come in and take Serbia's heart out and eat it.
Yeah. That was good to see. I mean, he really is acclimated to the international game. That's why he's the all-time leading scorer for Team USA. He really is good at it. So let's hope that continues against South Sudan on the 31st. That's at noon, by the way, on the USA Network, just to give everybody a heads up on that.
So, yeah, it's important to know that there's a lineup here that will work. I'd like to think that Steve Kerr knows this. These days, you don't know. These days, you don't really. What's some podcast guy going to say to some 4-time NBA championship coach, right? I don't know. Him saying that he was an idiot for not playing Jason Tatum, and I'm sitting there going, we know why you didn't play Jason Tatum. He can't shoot. I mean, he can shoot, but he tends to not shoot well regularly. And this team can't afford not to have shooters. The reason why the USA team were able to extend after that slow start was because they just weren't missing shots. And that's how Serbia played them. They basically played them to make shots, and they made shots, and then that's why they ran out of hope at that point. They're like, oh, man, LeBron going 8-9, Durant hitting threes left and right. Oh, Booker hits a couple back-to-back three. No, we're toast. If these guys are going to make these shots, it's over. And that wasn't even with Curry really shooting like Curry does. He shot, 3 of 7 from 3?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's okay, but it's Curry, right? He should be hitting 5 out of 7. But just you're not going to tell an audience that, oh, well, he can't really shoot in games. I get that, but have a little bit more tact and saying that the game didn't dictate Jason to come in when we needed him to. We'll see how the games progress. We'll set up the matchups how we want, and then go from there. I don't know why that doesn't. I mean, does that sound wrong to say that?
No, doesn't sound wrong.
Why do you say you're an idiot? I mean, that's just stupid.
when somebody builds a casino here, Seven, yes, there is obviously some help that they'll get from the local government in doing so. Like, for instance, the Hard Rock Hotel, which is going up in place of the old Mirage, which closed recently. Yes, I get that. But they will get nowhere near the public funding or help as the stadium for the A's, if that does get built right there where the Tropicana used to be. It just makes simple logistic sense. Do you, as a tourist, want to pay even more? Because we're going to stick the bill on you. And we're also going to stick the bill on the residents here with a higher sales tax for a lousy Oakland A's team to come to Vegas. No one in Vegas is thrilled to see them. Okay. If you want to go see baseball, you want to go see the A's, go watch them in Oakland. 7. Because we certainly don't want them here. We'll get them. I know we will, because enough of the right people want to get it passed in the government. So that's their deal. That's their deal. But don't think it comes without a price. We have a stadium, the Allegiant Stadium, that cost us a ton of money as taxpayers, cost you a ton of money as tourists coming to Vegas. So you got to understand, you will pay for it one way or the other. The Raiders, people like the Raiders enough here, they'll let it slide. But the A's, they can't win 40 games in a season, Joe, and everybody expect to love that.
I'm hearing people don't even like the Raiders over there.
It's nowhere. Golden Knights are the team in this town. Raiders are. It's it depends on the team. Sometimes because, like Seven says, well, I'll come in there and see I'll see them play this team. Like, let's say the Steelers, Joe, play the Raiders. The Steelers fans would outnumber the Raiders fans at Allegiant Stadium. If that makes any sense.
So will it change if the Raiders start winning?
Probably. It did for the Golden Knights. The Golden Knights won right away, and this town absolutely fell in love with them.
You sure it wasn't because it was their team?
It's because they won right away.
Really?
We've had expansion teams in other leagues before and haven't supported them.
Yeah, but they're not the major four.
They would not. I'm telling you, man. Everybody caught on because they started winning right away. Literally, they did something that no other team in hockey or any of the 4 leagues had really done in quite some time, going to the Stanley Cup Finals in that first year.
Mm-hmm.
And then now that we won a title, it's just all gravy for us right now. We're just, So, but the Raiders been meh ever since they've been here. There is a base of Raiders fans, as there is everywhere, but the Allegiant Stadium's all right. I could deal with that because I've been there enough times. But yeah, building a baseball stadium it's not a good idea.
Well, it's coming.
It's coming whether we like it or not.
So is an NBA team, and these guys can continue to make their money because that's
the NBA team is easy because you just put them in T-Mobile when you're done. Now, if they get picky, they want their own arena, Joe, then it really gets redundant because there's been rumors of that as far as whatever expansion team comes here, they want their own arena. That's been rumored. So
yeah, $7,000. Miami's not a really good sports town. A lot of it is because you have a lot of it's a melting pot.
Exactly, Kurt.
It's a melting pot, and got people from Cuba, the Dominicans, South America. They're more tailored to the soccer game.
Plus the Golden Knights. I do want to say this. If you're a hockey fan, the environment at the Golden Knights games is probably the best in the NHL.
Plus,
the things they do there for the game during any game is just outstanding.
Plus, I know LA is and New York get a lot of hype, but Miami is I would maybe vote if I had to vote. I would vote that most people like to go to Miami versus LA and New York. That in terms of having a good time.
Oh yeah, I can't say I blame you.
So most people are not really focused on sports over there. They're focused on all the cocoa skin honeys out there and beautiful beaches.
What do they say in the NBA? Is that you got to deal with the South Beach flu whenever you go down there?
Yeah, it's a buffet, and it's not a buffet at Golden Corral. It's a buffet at a high-end steakhouse.
Or the clubs that are there. The club scene is just, it's unparalleled. I would even rate it above, here in Vegas. Vegas has its own clubs, absolutely, but yeah, Miami is
It's
well done.
very, for those of you who don't believe in diverse options, go to Miami and stay there a week. Just don't go in the summer. It's too hot over there. Go in like
humidity and all that.
Yeah, go in October or go in February, March.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
I did that one time for Orlando. Yeah, that was a smart move. Absolutely. Yeah. Going in November or December, if you can go on Christmas break, that's really a good time. The weather out there is really good around that time. But it is, of course, the Lakers fast break. Joe, we're just going to go ahead and finish up and wrap up this episode because we'll come back hopefully tomorrow with more stuff. I want to ask you this, your final thoughts on Dalton Knecht. How much of a bonus would it be for him if he or Max Christie develops beyond our expectations this season?
Dalton's going to have to have at least some kind of average defensive skill, because if he's terrible, then whatever he does on offense, the little that he would do likely is going to just cancel it out. The Lakers don't have anyone other than AD that plays two ways. And to put that in perspective, folks, when they won their championship, they had 4 players that could play offense and defense. Play offense, when I say that, is they're functional and their execution of it is there. They weren't prolific scorers. Alex Caruso wasn't going to drop 20, 30 points a night, right? KCP wasn't going to do that either. I mean, although he did, a few times, drop 20 and 30. And then you had Rondo, who shot from 3 like Reggie Miller that year, especially in the playoffs. So you had 4 guys in your starting lineup. 4.
That was beautiful to watch, by the way.
Okay, 4. Imagine that, guys. 4 players. And Caruso didn't even start on some of those lineups.
He didn't start until that last game in the finals.
You had that guy coming off the bench. And then on top of that, you had Kuzma, who was struggling shooting and then made up a little bit of that, at least on the defensive end, because he is long, he is tall, and at least there was some distraction.
Play the best defense of his career.
Absolutely. So now you have 5 guys that had this defensive mentality that were there game in and game out. And then LeBron wasn't bad that year either. That was his last year where he was like 1.5. He played obviously awesome on offense and played half defense, and it was good enough because he won an assist title, for God's sakes, that year.
Starting point guard.
That was probably, honestly, 2020 might have been his second best season in his career. I know he won 1 in 12 and 13. I know it was great those years. Obviously, 16 is his best year. But there was something about 2020, his mastery of the point. I mean, he won an assist title.
At 35?
At 35.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. It's just too bad they couldn't continue it because they panicked. They panicked. And Jerry Krause, I'm going to use Jordan as an example here. Jerry Krause was quoted saying Michael Jordan never came to him ever and asked to trade for someone or trade someone away or draft this person. He never said that. And he goes, he was so darn good, he thought he could do it by himself anyways. And to me, that's those little things is what makes the difference in sports. What the difference between Tom Brady versus Ben Roethlisberger, right? What's the difference? The difference is Ben Roethlisberger didn't put in what Tom Brady put in, even though when you create a quarterback, you create it as close as you can to a Ben Roethlisberger. Someone who's 6'5", can throw the ball 80 yards, can throw it fast, can have touch, can move, can scramble, can take hits. He was the perfect specimen to play quarterback. Won a couple Super Bowls, but should have won more. Should have won more, but wasn't dedicated like like a Tom Brady. He didn't have that extra level that he could tap into and really make people pay. And sometimes that's just how it plays out. Not everybody can be that great. They'll be great, but not that great. Great. There's great, and then there's great, and then there's iconic, and then there's all time, right? And then there's number one all time. It's a lot to ask. So yeah, that's where I'm on that.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro from Simblades with a Y.com and LakersBall.com. This is me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. If anything comes up or we find a good topic to talk about, we'll come back tomorrow. If not, Wednesday, we will recap Team USA and South Sudan. If Joe and I are around on Wednesday, we'll try to do a playback as well, but definitely going to be back for the recap Wednesday. If not, we'll be back sooner on Tuesday. So, Joe, good episode with your thoughts today on the Dalton Knecht versus Max Christie question. Any last thoughts before we head on out?
If morale doesn't pick up, the beatings will continue.
We want to be wrong, everyone. We want to be wrong about our assessments, about what we perceive. I know that you guys are a little bit hard on Juan because Juan is the eternal optimist, but we all, as Lakers fans, want Juan's words to come true.
I'm not going to attack someone who has positive thoughts in what may happen in their minds. I go after those who get mad that I am talking the way I am, because you're not giving me a reason why not to think or know what I'm doing. Tell me why I'm wrong.
Yeah, he doesn't say you're wrong, Joe. He just says, this is what I believe.
That's fine.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
Stay positive. I know that helps a lot of people.
Absolutely.
However, don't criticize me because I'm watching what's going on and what I'm seeing is not good. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing.
Call it like you see it.
It's more of calling it like it's being presented. You have a coward at GM, a big mouth at head coach, whom I already listened to in interviews and caught a lot of bad things already. So, what? I'm looking into it too much? Folks, I have a very, very sensitive BS meter. I don't like people who BS. Especially that's the one thing that I have that has increased as I've gotten older. My BS meter is very sensitive. Because when you start to get to my age, you start seeing a lot of bad things start happening. Number one, your health, if you're not taking care of yourself. Number two, you start seeing more people crumble under the life situation. More relationship issues with those people around you. Bad friends, bad wives, bad husbands, kids are ungrateful, all that stuff, right? Well, sorry, but you gotta truck through it. And you can't just sit there and go, well, let's see what happens. After how many years we've been saying that? I did give it a chance. Go look at the tapes. I'm done. That's it. This is becoming that friend that's inconsiderate and disrespectful now. Now it's time to tell that friend, F you and your narcissistic traits. You either clean up your act or we're finished. I'm not going to hope that person changes. No more. Clean up your act.
And on that note, I want to thank you so much for watching this and truly appreciate it. 7 Grand says, if you surrounded LeBron and AD with the right guys, can we win this year?
If
the Los Angeles ifs, if JJ is a good coach right away, if Bronny James,
$7 grand, that's like the comment I made about if Christie makes his shots and can keep his guy in front of him, he'll play well.
If
That's not a good assessment on things. First of
A lot
all,
of ifs.
where are these players going to come from in a system like this? A system that these morons agreed to last year so that they can get their TV deal.
You have to overhaul the roster.
Yeah, and the only assets you have on that team, really, is Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is the only player on that team that will get you capital, draft capital right now.
And multiple players.
So are you going to trade Anthony Davis for 4 first-round picks and a couple of role players? Because you're not going to get any stars probably. Because if they gave up their stars, then what's the point of trading for Anthony Davis? Stars like Anthony Davis never get traded for equal value, except maybe down the road with draft picks.
Yeah, we do have 2 stars, $7,000, but
no one's trading for LeBron.
We don't have a team now to support
LeBron. Yeah,
him.
no one's trading for LeBron, folks. No one.
It's going to win a championship.
Yeah, this is Anthony Davis, and this is for the if let's say if Presti called the Lakers and said, "Look, we want to make sure we win next year. What do you want?" Okay, give us Chet Holmgren and 5 first-round picks. You telling me they wouldn't do that? Tell me about it. Probably not. They probably think Chet's going to be, the wilt to Wembanyama's Bill Russell, right? Or vice versa. Maybe. But, I mean, Presti at this point, is he going to wait? Do you wait? Waiting is a waste of time sometimes. If you can get it done now, get it done now.
All right, everyone. Truly thank you for watching, listening. We're going to go ahead and head on out. But yeah, we may be back on Wednesday for playback, or we may be on Wednesday for recap, or we may be back tomorrow night or later tonight, Tuesday night, to go ahead and talk about the latest news and happenings and our opinions and analysis like no other. Always right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.